in other things other than, the investment they were doing, which turns around and then started falling inflation again. That's why you realize that for some time now, after we drop from the galloping inflation of hyperinflation of the 54.1%, we've been hovering around 23%, 24, 23. Okay. It comes to 22, then it goes back. Okay. Now we are around 22, but we are still not seeing the effect. It should be the downward trajectory should have continued. Okay. You see, so that's why most economists, when you look at it, the central banks usually keep the treasury market rates within inflation and then the policy rates most of the time.
Okay. So you
try to balance it so much so that you don't have one side creating some imbalance in the system. Okay. But at this point, the imbalance is quite wide for us.
Well, I don't understand it too much.
No.
So let me reduce it.
Yeah. No. I wanted to chip in something.
Okay.
Which, I mean, the government has changed. There are suspicions of people stealing so much money,
and then they are investing in the treasury.
They will find a way to invest it in the treasury or other places. If you are devising policy to make sure that money you have stolen, you are able to track where it's coming from, and still maintain the economic policy,
the policy rate.
I think
or reduce it.
That may be
that's another prudent way of doing it. But the question is, the imbalance is existing at the moment. So how do you make sure that you don't, fall into another galloping inflation situation?
Okay.
Because when people are not investing, and treasury bill is a major investment instrument in Ghana, when people are not investing, logically, or in economics, we basically say that then they are consuming.
Okay.
Or they are spending that income on consumption. And you also not want them to go and then start investing it in your foreign exchange.
Okay.
That creates another problem for you again, then which again also fall another inflation. So whichever way it is, when you are working on your solution, your proposed solution, you still need to balance the scale to that level.
Because if you listen to the governor, the governor was even saying that it was a majority decision.
Yes, it's actually, if you read I've forgotten, I would have sent you the If you read through or you listen to the
monetary policy
argument made by all the members, the 5 members, you realize that, yes, it's quite clear. And it is based on the presentation by the staff of the bank, which is the research department, that, yes, the low rates are creating a lot of imbalances or a lot of liquidity that is stuck back into the open market,
but even
which you need to mop up again.
Even with all what you have just said,
so
the forex seems to
stabilize. No, what we are talking about is happened within just some few weeks. It's not even up to a month, because when you in March, you realize the rate was around 27% thereabout. So it larger part of March or a greater part of March it was. So this whole thing is happening just a few weeks time. Yes. So the effect is not being felt yet. Yes.
You're talking about the falling rates for treasury bills.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you need to quickly correct that imbalance before the pass-through effect started getting hold.
But is it really about the monetary policy rate, or also about the inflation?
So
because if inflation falls and you're realizing that, okay, at least I'm getting an interest rate a little above inflation, wouldn't you be satisfied, right?
Yes, but here is the case. We have inflation at 22%. You have what do we call it? The treasury rate at let me just is here. The treasury rates are at what is it? 15.74%, 16.93%, 18.85%. So you see that gap. Even if it's even around, let's say 22 or 23% or 24%, at least that makes a bit of sense for you to go and put your money in there. But if it's even below inflation, it means that look at the gap. That's the amount of money that in value that you'll be losing if you choose to go and still put your money in treasury. Are you getting it? So your solution, yes, your solution is the best way to eventually cure this problem. But it's not an immediate thing. You know, even look at some of how long it's even taking to take back the money from
the money is in some few pockets.
Yes,
the money is in few pockets.
So stamp your feet and then take, like the way we are taking it from Edubahin, for instance.
We haven't taken anything yet.
So it means that assuming some of that money is even finding itself in this thing. So imagine that.
So the interesting thing is that then the bank had an interesting balancing act.
Yes. Now the bank
should they have lowered it?
No, if they lower it again, it means logically it means that still interest must come down.
Okay.
The reference rate is now at 27.9. MP monetary policy rate is at 28, which is just a 4 percentage, 0.4 percentage. No, 0. Yes, basically the same thing. 27.9, and then this is basically 0.01 percentage. So when you lower it further, naturally or logically, interest rates must still also continue to fall. And when interest, yes, is good, but let's not forget all that we are saying or what is happening with interest coming down and all that is good for businesses. But yet again, you have to balance it for demand not to overshadow supply.
So it's a current and stick situation.
Yes, so it's a huge balancing act. What monetary policy or Bank of Ghana is doing their part, fiscal policy we shouldn't get too carried away with the goodie that they are
if
enjoying.
I was sitting at that
sacrifice
board,
a bit.
If I was sitting at that committee, I will vote on the side of the majority because I would rather people put
you
money
also
into
agree that
businesses.
it is raised.
Yes, put money into businesses.
Yes.
You know, because if you're going to be doing 24-hour, the businesses
must make this thing because it doesn't really make any sense for you to go and then invest your money and then you lose the value or you are losing some chunk of it. The loss actually in investment or in value is the difference between the rates that you are being given and inflation. You get it? Yeah. So I think fiscal policy, which is the government side or the Ministry of Finance side, must sacrifice a bit. They shouldn't enjoy all the goodies. They let them raise the policy, and it's part of the recommendation actually.
Yeah.
That they should raise the rates a bit, at least if it's even a par or a little, just 100 basis points, which is 1% of above even the inflation.
Let's put the money in agri.
Yes, that's even another. So assuming, or let's say that once we started even looking at or getting the benefits from what's the name, Feeding Ghana and Gukon Kitikiti and all those growing to feed Ghana projects, all the initiatives, which pushes food inflation down. Let's not forget, food inflation is what is actually pushing so much of this inflation up like that. So once we are able to stabilize that and reduce it further, then we won't even have this conversation at all. Automatically, inflation would have dropped to the level
because a major contributor is food inflation. Anyway,
that on top of
we have to. We have to close.
But I have been talking for long, so David can wrap up actually. So
I think David, you have made a contribution you wanted to make.
No, I mean the way he's taking me, you're not familiar with that terrain.
So it's a balancing act. Yes, it's good. It means that we are not incurring so much debt or accumulating so much debt in terms of interest.
So when you
understand, but
when you stop accumulation, your interest automatically start to respond.
Yes. Also, again, because you are buying at a cheaper cost or you are borrowing at a cheaper cost, when as the bills has gone down now, the rate has gone down now. It means that government at the moment is borrowing at a cheaper cost than when it was around 27%.
Okay.
So you look at that difference. It's basically almost like 10%
difference. Yeah.
cost savings.
When government is borrowing at a higher cost,
Yes.
it's some individuals who benefit.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually. So the system that has been created, it was a deliberate thing, because, like David said, a few people managed to siphon a lot of money from the system.
You put it back in.
And then they went in back there to, give themselves a higher rate, because it didn't really make any sense
The government was
to raise the bills or the rates so much like that.
who was doing monkey business.
Yes.
Anyway,
So they are just robbing Peter to pay Peter again. Not this time, not even Paul.
Paul does
No,
not
Paul
even
didn't
benefit
even
anything.
benefit
You-
from
you-
it.
okay.
They are robbing Peter and then using it to pay Peter again.
to pay themselves.
To pay
Anyway,
themselves.
do you know Numo Blafo?
Yes.
The third, he says, good morning, Senator.
Very
David
good.
published my first article in the Enquirer when I was training as a journalist at AIJC, now AUCC, in 2005.
Fine, and
He be
was-
grandpapa
he
now.
was a great guy, man. And he
Yeah.
came to work with me. We worked
Okay.
together. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
Numo
I see.
Blafo.
I see. Very,
It
very
is.
interesting.
It is.
This is
I see that no more bluff for that.
Yes,
way
yes,
now.
yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
The-
You see why we are senior, most senior.
This is Shine Gabo says, please let us be bold and call a spade and stop beating around the bush. What Nancy is saying is the truth. We cannot achieve our resetting agenda with people who don't believe in it, still in top management positions.
That's
The earlier we weed them out, the better it will be for us. Let us stop pleasing people and do what is right.
The voice of the people is the voice of God.
And he is the, I think it's general secretary for United Cadres Front now. And that's the comment he sent. Kamala Ganya says, when I hear NDC MPs refer to their MPP counterparts as my brother and friend, I feel so nauseated. The people you call brother and friends don't regard you as such. Kamala sent that. Then there's Hadi says, good morning. As for Reverend Tim Fojo, I doubt if he is really a reverend, because I wonder what exactly he preaches to his congregation on Sundays. You made a business allegation. You are being invited to show proof of your so-called intelligence, and you are right now. This so-called reverend is a disgrace to all men of God. I now understand why common sense is not common to some people. Okay. So these are some of the comments you're sending to us. There are many more on Facebook, actually, but we can't go through all of them. But David, can those containers be found?
The containers should be the easiest to be found.
Like the
But
content.
at this point, it remains an imagination as the excavators remained up to this stage.
You are saying that they should have been found by now. It should be easy to find.
Yes, because, for the containers, they have numbers.
Uh-huh.
They have
Documents covering them.
they have tracking devices sometimes in them.
Yeah.
And so you should be able to identify all those.
Yeah.
Now, will the containers be found? It depends on how committed the government is to the investigation. There are snippets of information running across, and which, for me, I would say government needs to show a little more commitment to get into the foundation of these missing containers. There's no point in trying to play, games with this.
My brother.
Look, the NDC's success depends on how it is able to settle or unsettle the minds of the people who voted in the 2024 election about corruption.
Yeah.
True.
Corruption is a big issue, and whichever appointee is hearing this should play a role wherever they are, because if the government doesn't exist, you won't be in that position. It doesn't matter how much money you are able to get for yourself. We've seen it. Politicians who have amassed wealth, and just when their party goes to opposition, that is it. It goes down. So you are better off having your party in power. And so to have your party in power, the citizens of Ghana want to be sure that the NDC came, and if they did not do anything at all, they fought corruption and won. So it is very, very crucial that any issue relating to corruption, we take it very serious. And like I've said somewhere, if I look at the president's demeanor, it suggests to me that he won't spare anyone who play loose and is swallowed by this corruption. It is not, and the sense even in this is that these are not things that you have done. These are things that some people have done, and you said, look, clean it. If you can't clean, then there's a problem.
David, thank you. David Tamaklo is editor for the New Republic newspaper. And of course, WhatsApp News. WhatsApp News. That thing landed into many troubles. David. Anyway, Ahmed Wotorgbui is in the Center for Socioeconomic Studies. We're back Monday with another edition of the Good Morning Conversation. Do make a date with us. I am Senna Nombo. My co-hosts are Stephen Mreko and Nancy Amalawis Kekelu Bimpe.